Hey, what's going on YouTube? My name is Andrew, aka the Black Dragon. This is Black Dragon Studios, and I'm back with another episode of Doomsday Last Survivors. We've got Style Maven Spectra and Phantom of the Capital Cedric, and we're going to be going over both of those heroes in today's video, so stay tuned for that. If you're new to the channel, I just want to ask you, go ahead and hit the sub button, hit the like button. It just helps trigger the YouTube algorithm. It helps more people see the video. And yeah, other than that, let's just get right into the video. This is going to be quick. We're not going to take too much time on these heroes. I'm just going to go over them one by one here in this video. I don't believe they need their separate videos. I believe that we can just do one video on each one. So we got Style Maven Spectra. I'm not into leather, man. I'm going to give this one a mid. This one definitely isn't like I can't like underappreciate the work that they've done on the artwork, but at the same time, I'm just not a big fan of leather. So for me, it's a mid. I don't know about you guys, but that's just my personal preference. I do like the gun, however. She does look like she's holding a really cool pistol here. And other than that, maybe potentially some sort of army-ish build or lease type costume going on here. Something you'd probably see at like a gay club or something like that. The direction they're taking with some of these heroes, man, I don't understand it. Like, it started off with Daryl, okay? I'm not against gay people, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, just speaking here, that it looks like Daryl, let's be honest, Daryl looks gay, okay? Daryl dresses gay. And you wouldn't see a straight person ever dressing the way that Daryl dresses. And then you've got Style Maven Spectra here. This is what you would see show up to a swinger Halloween party. So a lesbian swinger Halloween party is what I should say. So yeah, anyway, moving on from that, I just had to get that off my chest, man. I hope there's people out there that can see this. And they're just being weird, like really weird with these new heroes, the way they're portraying them in the game. Let's put it to you this way. If I saw these people in real life, I wouldn't be afraid of them that they were going to do all this crazy damage to me. Now, speaking of damage, this hero here has 6,330 base damage, which is relatively high, you know, compared to other heroes in the game. But if we compare it to, say, Julia, let's go ahead here and just compare the damage to one of the best heroes in the game, Julia, okay? 4,000 damage, base damage off Julia. And then we've got your other, like, stalwart here. We've got Sophie. Here's the thing. I don't believe that I have Sophie maxed. I don't know that I can look at Sophie maxed. So unfortunately, I can't actually see the damage. Let's try and find a fully maxed Sophie here. And unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to let me see it. So, you know, and that's okay. But one thing we do know, everybody that plays this game knows that Sophie has incredibly high damaging stats. And if you get hit by Sophie in the field, by a well-built Sophie, it's going to spell the end of your day. So, yeah, I wish I could compare it, but all we have right now to compare it off is unfortunately a hero that I don't even use. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that okay, well, yeah. God damn it, man. Why do they gotta do this to us? They don't give us YouTubers an opportunity to actually showcase the character. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say 6,300 base damage is really high for a ranged hero. I'm just gonna say that. If we were to look at, say, this hero here, which is Phantom of the Capital Cedric, his base damage is only 4,800. If we go over to Bard, his base damage is 1,997. So you're getting an insane jump up. Jacob here, another one, 4,491, not bad. Johnny Carey, 3,690, not very good. Anybody else? Any other ranged heroes that I haven't looked at that we could check out fully maxed? No. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Style Maven Spectra is either tied for the most damage or has very close to the highest base damage in the game for a hero. Okay? Just the damage number. So that's my analysis on that. Very high base damage, moderate HP, 322k HP. If we compare it to Bard, who has 625,000 HP, or we can go over here to Chun, who has 334k HP and actually 4,400 damage. So again, we're seeing this incredibly like glass cannon-y type build. If we go over here even to say someone like Eileen Volt, who probably has the highest damage like number among all infantry, 6,330. So the game is like producing these power crept champions right now that are just blowing the game right out of the water. Like the meta is going to shift. I can guarantee you that this hero, just off this damage capability alone, is going to be a good hero. So average base defense 4395 is not too bad, not too bad. 159,000 squad size. We've got range, we've got general, and we've got skills for the talent tree. As potential routes you could go down. One of the benefits to building a hero like this is you can get them from the lucky roulette. So you don't have to do too much. You just go ahead, get the 10 fragments for this hero from the lucky roulette, and then you could put generic hero fragments on to fully max this hero and fully awaken the hero, which I think is like 600 fragments or something like that to fully awaken the hero. So let's go ahead and take a look at Style Maven Spectra skills here. We've got Magic Marksman. It's the rage skill. Rage required 1,000, deals damage to the target. Damage factor 14,000. If the target is flanked, damage factor is increased to 15,500. So if we're flanking the target in the field, for example, or maybe they're rallying and we're counter rallying, the damage is going to be increased to 15,500, which is pretty much super high. Let's just say that it's really good. And then when not garrisoned, reduces the enemy attack by an additional 30% for 3 seconds. So we're hitting them for a lot. We're reducing their attack for 3 seconds. Yeah, seems good. Let's take a look at the second one. Aurora Veil, passive skill. Increases range squad HP by 25%. When taking skill damage, reduces damage taken by own range squad by 20% for 3 seconds. This effect can be triggered up to 1 time every 10 seconds. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Let's check out the third skill. Prism Ruling. It's another passive skill. Increases range squad defense by 25%. When performing basic attacks, there's a 20% chance to steal 50 rage from the enemy. So this is a significantly high chance, just for a simple basic attack, to steal a good amount of rage from your enemy. 20% chance, that could trigger, 3, 4, 5 times, and there you go, you've just stolen like 200, 250 rage from your opponent, which is a lot of rage. It can be triggered 1 time every 4 seconds. After successfully stealing rage, also steals 8% of enemy skill damage for 3 seconds. So you're actually not even reducing damage. You're taking their damage and you're putting it on your own. So that's really good. Really, really good. Very unique. And we've got Shining Moment, another passive skill. Increases range squad attack by 20% and increases range squad travel speed by 20%. If target is flanked, increases damage received for 3 seconds by 15% after using a rage skill. So basically what this is saying, what the consensus is here is, it sounds like you're taking extra damage, which could be the case. It certainly could be the case. Although I don't really understand why that would be the case. I think it's more plausible that your opponent is taking an extra 15% damage if flanked for 3 seconds after using a rage skill. So basically what that's saying is your opponent uses a rage skill, but since you flank them, they're going to increase their damage received by 15% for 3 seconds. So basically what that's saying is, whenever your opponent uses a rage skill after they've been flanked, they're just going to take a lot of damage. And that's pretty cool, I guess. So we've got, to sum that all up, we've got attack plus 20%, travel speed plus 20%, defense plus 25%, rage stealing, damage reduction, damage increase, HP. So HP, defense, attack, travel speed. There's a lot of stuff going on here. More attack reduction and straight damage. And then when we go to the awakened skill, Precise Reflection, it's a passive skill. It enhances the skill Prism Ruling, which is this one here, the third skill. So it says here, before awakening, it increases defense, and whenever they perform basic attacks, you steal rage. You know all that. After awakening, increases range squad defense by 25%. When performing basic attacks, there's a 20% chance to steal 50 rage from the enemy. Can be triggered once every 4 seconds. After successfully stealing rage, also steals 8% of skill damage from the enemy for 3 seconds. I don't know what the difference is. What am I missing here? Okay, so before awakening, you don't steal the skill damage. After awakening, you do steal the skill damage. What are my thoughts on this hero after reading that? I think this hero is pretty good. I think this hero can be used anywhere. I think this hero could be best in a rally or in the field, but also is really only getting 1 drawback from being in the garrison. So it's from the first skill here. When not garrisoned, reduces enemy attack by an additional 30% for 3 seconds. So if they're garrisoned, they're not going to get this, but they're going to get everything else. There's nothing else here that has a negative impact if you're garrisoned, other than the travel speed. Your travel speed isn't really that good when you're sitting in a garrison. I gotta be honest, it's kind of a waste of a skill, but there's a lot of stuff going on here other than flanking your target as well. So you're not getting the flanking bonuses, you're not getting the travel speed bonuses, and you're not getting the little 3-second minus 30% attack, but this hero can still be good in the garrison. Don't get me wrong. This hero still has an incredibly high base damage, so keep that in mind. You know, let's say we go Ethan, and good thing I don't even have Ethan, so I could fully max him here and show you guys. This is Ethan's. This is like the cream of the crop, right? When it comes to ranged heroes. If I was a ranged main, all of my focus and attention would be getting this guy fully maxed. And the reason I say that is because a fully maxed Ethan Garrison with full superb armaments and a good beast is pretty much one of the best things you could ever do for yourself in this game. If you're a ranged main, it's very hard. It's a very tough nut to crack, okay? And not many can. So you put this guy in the garrison, you put her in the garrison, so now you're running at like 9,000 damage. You're running at 9,000 base damage. And it's AoE damage. It's all AoE damage. So you're wondering why you're getting hit so hard by these guys in the field when you're attacking a tower or you're attacking a garrison? This is why, because these guys hit the hardest in the game. So I would take Style Maven Spectra as the ranged version of Eileen Volt. That's pretty much my analysis on it. Now, we've got a little bit of Julia built into this as well. We've got kind of a rage stealing effect going on as well, which kind of acts as a silence, right? So silence is the enemy for 3 seconds. So what is silence the enemy for 3 seconds? Basically it is your enemy can't use this rage skill for 3 seconds. So it prevents your enemy from being, let's say your enemy is using its rage skill once every 12 seconds. That's pretty much a 25% skill usage reduction. So they're going to be using that skill 25% less. Julia is also good at rage recovering too. I just saw there, also restores 120 rage to one squad. So your Style Maven Spectra is going to be doing the exact same thing. She's going to be stealing rage. Where's the rage stealing skill? She's going to be stealing rage. 50 rage every time this triggers. So let's say it triggers 2-3 times in a row. Boom. You've just got 150 rage. So not only did you steal their rage, but you gained 150 rage. So every time you do this, it's a difference. You're creating a separation of 100 rage. Your enemy loses 50 rage and you gain 50 rage. So that's a huge swing of rage. And this character is good just because of that alone. Just because, you know, there's nothing that I'm not seeing here that doesn't attract me other than the costume, of course, to this character. This character is really good. Am I going to say it's a broken character? It could be. It could be. It could just very well be a broken character. I don't know, dude. I'm not like a ranged expert, but judging from what I see here, this is going to be a tier 1 ranged hero. This is probably going to be the hero that people look to if they don't want to build Julia and they don't want to build Sophie to put with Ethan in the garrison. Now, if you're a budgeted ranged, like let's say you're a budget ranged account, right? You want to run range, but you're on a budget, you're not spending a lot, you're not going to max Ethan. Then Spectra could go with any of these following. She could go with, in the field, she could go with Lynn. I got her from the Lucky Roulette. So you could pair her with Lynn. The better pairing for her would be with Sophie, but you could also pair her with Julia. So there's 3 great pairings right there. And I think that Julia or Sophie would make the best out of those 3 Lucky Roulette heroes. Those would be the best pairs for this hero, both garrisoning, rallying, and in the field. If you're a budget, you're probably not going to be the garrison leader of your team anyway. So I would focus more on just getting her field fighting ready. So meaning pair her up with Sophie, because Sophie is the best field fighting hero in the game for a range other than Ethan. And these 2 are going to be laying the smackdown on your opponents once you got the correct gear to go on these characters, okay? So that's my analysis there. And of course, we're going to take now a look at Cedric, and we're going to see how well they have synergy together. Now, I'm just going to say this before even getting into it. I don't want to drag the video on too long, but I will say this. IGG is doing something that is blatantly obvious right now. They keep putting out broken heroes. They keep putting out more and more powerful heroes, making previous heroes that have come out like Bard, previous heroes that have come out like Chun, previous heroes that have come out like Johnny Carey, previous heroes that have come out like Jacob, completely obsolete. You can't use these heroes anymore in a competitive environment. Unless they're like your 4th or 5th march and you're all range marches. Even at that point, that's just overkill. they're just obsolete at this point. They're not useful. So IGG makes these new heroes because they need them to be good, because if they're not good, then people won't go for them. People won't spend money on them, and obviously they have to make a profit. So the only way to guarantee that a profit is going to be made is to make a very powerful hero. Somebody that steps it up just a little bit from what we already have available, right? So it's a little bit of a cheapish way to do things. I don't agree with it. I know a lot of other people don't agree with it, but it is what it is. I understand the logic of the game. I understand the logic of the company. And honestly, bro, I am ready for a meta shift anyways. I'm ready for the meta to shift away from some of the older heroes into some of the newer heroes. It's just the way of the world. It's just the way of the gacha games. It's how these gacha games work. This Kenny guy needs to stop launching frickin' rallies on Hive Mind. Holy God, dude. Holy God. This guy is trying to complete a stamina challenge right now, and I'm guessing he's never played the game before. So here, let me go message this guy, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So let's take a look at our second hero, Phantom of the Capital Cedric. Looking like Phantom of the Opera. I think that one's pretty obvious, right? He's looking like Phantom of the Opera. I think he's a 10 out of 10. I really like what they've done with this character. Very unique, very unexpected. And looks like his super weapon is his umbrella, judging, if I had to judge just by what I see it doing here, it's kind of doing some funky movement. So I would think that that's his sort of, you know, bread and butter. But beyond that, I think they've really went out of their way to make sure that this character looks authentic and just is very well put together. I see a lot of detail, not only in the jacket, but in the mask, in the shirt and the belt and all that. They've done a great job with this hero. 10 out of 10 on Phantom of the Capital Cedric. Range squad, superhero. He's got a siege thing here. We're going to max him out. So he's doing rallies, I'm guessing. He's for rallies mainly, and skills. So his damage output is 4806, which is respectable. HP is 437k, which is also very respectable. Defense number is 44k, which is pretty respectable. Let's take a look at his superhero weapon here. Sinful Gentleman is a passive skill. Recovers 15 rage when performing basic attacks. So just off reading that first sentence, we already know what Style Maven Spectra is capable of. I'm just going to call her Spectra from now on, and I'm going to call this guy Cedric, okay? So we already know what Spectra is capable of with the rage stealing, and then this guy is recovering rage. So already that alarm bells are going off in my mind. This guy can be paired with Julia, and this guy can be paired with Spectra. Either of the two can go with this guy and just smash people in rallies. So yeah, we can already agree to that, I think. So when remaining squad size is 30% or less, increases skill damage by 20%, and restores an additional 10 rage with each basic attack. 25 rage recovery on each basic attack. That's really good. Extra skill damage, 20% is really good. Yeah, this is looking pretty good so far. That's a really good weapon. It doesn't say when in a rally, when garrison, doesn't say against riders only or against infantry only. So this is really nice. It's going to be an overall just a great ability. So this is the Transcended Dance of Slaughter rage skill, okay? Dance of Slaughter, it's his rage skill. It's his rage required 1000, deals direct damage to the target, 15,300. That's a straight up whopping 15,300. That's top of the line there, especially if you go over here and look at a maxed out Ethan. That's pretty much the same thing, 14,750. Okay, just off that. So let's go right back over to him again and check this guy out here. So when not garrison, so when in a rally or in the field is where you're going to be getting the most out of this guy. Deals additional damage to the target and 2 other targets around self once. So it's an AoE, but it only hits 3 targets. So it's hitting 3 targets. It's pretty much like a fan-shaped ability. So it's hitting them for 3,000 each. So this could potentially do an additional 21,300 damage. If the additional damage only hits 1 target, it increases the damage to 5,000. So it's either hitting for 21,300 or 20,300. So it's really good. That's a really good first skill, Dance of Slaughter. Shadow in the Fog. You've got a passive skill here. Increases range squad defense by 35% and range squad damage by 12%. So just a straight up 35% defense increase and a straight up 12% damage increase. This is really strong. This is like top of the line when it comes to general abilities that just cover everything. This is great. Not much to talk about there. Knight of Assassination, passive skill, increases range squad attack by 35%. During rallies, counterattacks have a 30% chance to deal damage to squads in the field. So during rallies, counterattacks, a simple counterattack is going to have a 30% chance to deal extra damage to squads in the field. So this is interesting that it says squads in the field. I'm guessing this guy's like the Anipede and just has a big red circle appear around him when this goes off. This is going to hit anybody in sight who's in the circle for 2,500 damage. So how much damage that could do, I don't know, dude. But this seems pretty broken. He's going to hit everybody for damage. So this guy's looking really strong, okay? Increases perfect attire, passive skill. Increases range squad HP by 35% when not garrisoned. Reduces squad's skill damage taken by 15%. So increase HP, decrease skill damage taken, increase attack, and big too, 35% for both of those. Extra damage, and not hard to achieve. Range squad defense, range squad damage, just a straight up damage increase. Very high damaging A1. And a very good super weapon. Transcended skill, Bloody Storm. Reduces current target's skill damage by 4% and squad HP by 6% when Cedric uses a rage skill. This effect stacks up to 3 times. So 18% HP and 12% skill damage reduction for 30 seconds. If target has reached the stack limit, deals additional damage to the target. Only 1,500, but it is what it is. I think what we're really looking at here is the extra skill damage reduction and the extra HP reduction. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that this hero is really good. On par with Ethan. So where Ethan is for garrison would be where Cedric is for rallies. So this would be your equivalent of... Let me see where they are here. This would be your equivalent of Rubina for rallies, for riders, where your Chasey would be on par with Rubina, but for garrisons. Who's better? That's up to you to decide. I'm going to still go out on a limb here and say that Ethan is better. Why? Because a stronger garrison hero is always going to be better than a strong rally hero. But if you can get both, definitely get both. If you can only get one, then go for the one that speaks to you the most, is what I've always been suggested. Every time I play these types of games that involve you can only pick one type games, I always go for the one that speaks to me the most. Even if it's not the most broken character in the game, if Bard spoke to me more than the other two, I would still go for Bard. Am I telling you to go for Bard? No, I'm not. I'm not telling you to go for Bard. I'm telling you to go for whoever speaks to you the most. Why do I say that? Because that's what's going to make you truly happy. See, the thing about me is when I'm looking at what hero to build out next, I don't necessarily only look at stats. I look at everything. I have to look at this character every day. Am I going to be able to stand the look of this character every day? You know, that's one of the reasons that, like, for example, I'll give you guys a prime example of this, okay? This hero here. When Daryl first came out, I said to myself, I'm not going to get this hero. I don't like the look of this hero. I don't want to get this hero. I'll use Elena or I'll use Felix. I really don't want to get Daryl. Just because I don't like the art. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. There's no snow on the ground in this game. So why did they build a hero with a freaking snowmobile dressed in a winter snowsuit? It doesn't make sense. So I would have rather just gotten this one, which makes sense. You know, woman on a horse or, you know, guy on a motorcycle, guy on a custom built motorcycle seems a lot more plausible to me than a guy riding his snow machine on grass killing zombies. It just, yeah. And not to mention the fact that I just don't like the look of it to begin with. Even if there was snow, what is with this pink collar on Daryl? Like, it seems like maybe he robbed a woman's clothing shop and that was all that was left in the store. Like, that's kind of the impression I'm getting from Daryl. Now, once people told me Daryl is broken, Daryl is literally like the most broken rider field hero and rally hero that you can possibly get, then obviously I'm going to get Daryl. So Daryl is going to be the next rider hero that I max because he happens to pair very well with the other hero that I'm fully maxing, which is Rubina. Now, Again, I'm not going to suggest to you what exactly you should do if you're a ranged main. Should you go for Cedric? Should you go for Ethan? Should you go for... I'm not going to do none of that. All I'm going to tell you is stick to your budget and do what's best for you. Do what's best for your account. If you have already a half built out Ethan, go ahead and continue building out the Ethan. It would make no sense to have your Ethan half built out and then say, oh, well, Cedric is here now and I like him more, so I'm just going to start building him out now. Forget all about the like 500 fragments I put into Ethan. No, like build out your Ethan. Do what's practical and what's logical for your account. That's all I'm trying to say. And if you're not sure what that is exactly, you can ask someone who has experience. But you can't just say, hey, I don't want to hear in the comments, what hero should I build out next? Should I build out Sophie or should I build out Ethan? Because I'm just going to say to you, I don't know, dude, because you're not giving me any context. You have to give some context. You have to say what kind of a spender you are, what direction you're looking to take your account. Are you a field main? Are you looking to get into the garrison? Are you looking to build a rally account? Or are you looking to do a little bit of all? Are you a high spender, low spender? Like what amount do you spend on the game per month? And then what hero do you already have built out, right? Then I will be able to tell you, or someone will be able to tell you what the next step is for your account, potentially. One thing I can tell you is Jack Brawny is a really good ranged hero. However, he takes 1200 fragments to max and awaken. Unlike your hero, say like Sophie, who is probably equally as good as Jack Brawny in a vacuum, but only takes, I think, 500 or 600 fragments to fully max. So keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind, guys. Just be smart. That's all I have to say. That's my only advice for you guys out there, the new people that are watching the video today, because we're already getting at, 35 minutes of the video. Just be smart, make smart choices. In the end, do what makes you happy, man. Do what makes you happy and don't listen to anyone else. If you want to go out and build out Jacob, go out and build out Jacob, man. You'll probably never do anything in your competitive alliance, but at least you'll be happy, right? That was a joke, obviously, but I'm trying to just make light of the situation. So the point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of choices to make in this game. If you make the wrong choice, it's okay. You can make a different decision anytime you choose. You can stop making bad decisions and start making the right decisions anytime you choose. But one thing I can tell you with most assurity in this game, building out the S tier heroes is never really a bad thing. Building out the A tier heroes is never really a bad thing. Once you start getting into the B tier heroes and the C tier heroes and even the like D tier heroes and just like the garbage trash tier heroes, that's when you're really just wasting your time. You're wasting everyone's time. I'm sure that wouldn't make you happy, right? So let's not go to extremes here. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for today's video. The two new heroes look absolutely disgusting. They're going to be doing some real work in the field. They're going to be doing some real work in this game, and I expect to see these heroes in the not too distant future. So if you happen to be doing the ranged top commander coming up, yeah, and you have the resources to go for these heroes, they're really good together. They're really good. They complement a lot of the other ranged heroes that are already in the game that you probably already have built out. And if this is going to be your first ranged top commander, you definitely have some choices to make because you're going to have to choose between three really solid heroes. If it's your first ranged hero that you're building out, you're going to have to make a decision. Do I build out the Ethan? Do I build out the Cedric? Or do I go ahead and build out a Julia or a Maven, for example? All I have to say to you is good luck, and I hope you do the right thing. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to maintain positivity while at the same time trying to remain humble and say, like, I don't have all the answers for you guys. I can help you and guide you, and there's a lot of people in this game with a lot of experience that can help and guide you as well. But in the end, it's up to you to decide what you want, what you think is best for your own account. With that, I'm getting out of here for today, guys. Oh, and just one last story I guess I'll tell you guys is when I was doing my first superhero, I'm a mid spender in this game, so I spend between $100 and $200 a month on this game. I had to decide, do I build out the Chasey or do I go for a Rubina? Everybody was telling me to go for Chasey, blah, 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 blah. I said, you know what, guys? I don't want to build Chasey, so I'm not going to build Chasey. And I still stand by this decision today. There are times where I wish to myself, oh, I wish I had a Chasey. But then there's times equally as much where I'm like, damn, I'm so glad that I built this Rubina out and that I'm soon going to have a fully maxed Rubina. So there's my story for you guys today. Like and sub, and yeah, this game is about to get crazy with these new range heroes. Peace out, guys.